The Punisher issue number 1 from Marvel Comics. So yeah, I'm actually doing a review for a comic from one of the big two. Been a while since I've done that outside of Ghost Rider, obviously. Outside of Ghost Rider, I don't think I've touched a comic from the big two for a while now, and for good reason. Big two have been pretty terrible. Not to say that comics coming out from other companies have been all that great. Comic industry is kind of lackluster at the moment. But I decided I'm going to check this out because I'm a huge Punisher fan. And I guess I just want to torture myself by reading a modern Marvel comic about Punisher that doesn't have Frank Castle in it whatsoever. I guess on a positive side, they can't ruin Frank Castle any more than they already did in the last volume that they did of him, where they basically got rid of his symbol, got rid of his guns, turned him into a villain in a sense. I mean, they brought back his dead wife to berate him and say how he's terrible and he's an awful husband, how she was going to divorce him before she died. It was terrible. It was just god awful. And if Marvel had any brains, they would retcon it. They would get someone to write the Punisher the way he should be written. Call up Garth Ennis again. Get him to write Punisher like he did in 2000 in 2001. That's like one of the best Punisher runs ever. Have him do that. But yeah. So we got a new character. His name is Joe Garrison. And Joe Garrison used to work for S.H.I.E.L.D. He was called the Gravedigger of S.H.I.E.L.D. I guess he went on like a bunch of like top secret missions that were kind of high difficulty, and he used high-tech weapons to do it. And he gave up that life so that he could start a family with his wife, and they did. They had a son, they had a daughter. They bought a house out by the lake, and one day while he was arriving home with groceries, the house exploded with his family inside. They were killed. And so we have two detectives who are approaching the destroyed house, and they see the bodies of the wife and kids. And at first they think, okay, maybe it was like some kind of gas leak, but they eventually find a bomb inside the house that didn't go off. And they realize that no, this family was murdered. And eventually they realize that the body of Joe Garrison is nowhere to be found, so he becomes the number one suspect. Meanwhile, with Joe Garrison, he is trying to hunt down the people who put the hit out on his family. So there's this guy, I guess the code name is Sokovian. Basically, he has knowledge about the death of Joe Garrison's family. So Joe Garrison decides, okay, I'm going to go after this guy. So Joe Garrison shows up at a pub that this guy is at, along with a bunch of other masked dudes. And that's where we get our first fight scene where he's using the high-tech guns. And like Frank Castle, he also has the skull suit on the front. Only instead of it being painted on or anything like that, it glows. It's like body tech armor with the skull design. Like, I don't know why he would do that. What's the point of him having the skull symbol on his chest? It just makes him look like he's ripping off Frank Castle. Like, Frank Castle has a reason for the skull. There's like multiple reasons. Some is because it paints a target on his chest, so criminals tend to shoot at the skull, which is where he has his armor. Other reasons is that, like, it's a symbol. It's a reminder. It's like the last thing that the villains see before they get killed. So it's kind of like a symbol of him dealing out justice to people who have escaped from justice. If you go by the Vietnam stories, then it's basically the symbol that he uses to taunt the soldiers who captured him. So there's like a whole bunch of reasons why he wears the skull. It has a personal meaning to him. It doesn't to Garrison, though. There's no reason for him to wear this symbol. It just basically makes it look like he's just being a Frank Castle copycat. And I don't know, if you're trying to introduce this new character, like, the last thing you want to do is just keep having him mimic other characters that people love way more. You're already kind of starting him at a down point by doing that, because now people like me are just like, why couldn't we just have Frank Castle? But yeah, he uses his high-tech guns to shoot these guys, and I will say it's not the greatest fight scene. Because it's modern-day Marvel, we don't get the bloodbath that we got in like 2000 Punisher. You know? I mean, this Joe Garrison dude shooting these thugs, and we don't see any blood splatter whatsoever. He even shoots one in the head, and there's nothing. It's just like a black hole, which is kind of weak and lame. But the guy that he's hunting down eventually escapes. We do get like one kind of cool moment where he's fighting this big beefy dude. He like smashes him over the face with a bottle of rum, and then the guy is basically like talking tough. He's like, is that all you got, American? Uh, I wield the power of man's darkest shadows. And Garrison's like, yeah, maybe you do, but you're also soaked in rum, and I'm the guy with the lighter. And then he throws a lighter at him and lights him up on fire. I was like, okay, that was pretty cool. I did enjoy that. Afterwards, he goes down to his base of operations, which is basically throughout the city of, I'm assuming, New York. There's a bunch of like bunkers that S.H.I.E.L.D had and abandoned. And so one of these bunkers is hideouts. Instead of Microchip, this new Punisher sidekick is a black female who may or may not be a lesbian. Yeah. Her name is AAA. She's like super high tech. She's the one that makes like all his gadgets and stuff. So yeah, they gender and race swapped Microchip basically. We got this really plot convenient moment where Joe Garrison is explaining how the criminal that he was hunting down made their escape. But AAA is like, oh, no worries. You see this? She holds up a bullet. These are Reaper bullets. They emit a tracking signal. I've already uploaded all your guns with it. So, yeah, we know where he's going. You may be wondering, when did he shoot this guy? He shot him earlier. Basically, when he was shooting up the pub, one of the bullets hit this briefcase that this guy had. And at no point in time did he ever see the briefcase. And I bring this up because later on, we see the guy chilling out with this dude named Hyde. And Hyde has a bunch of armed goons. And the guy that Punisher is going after, he's like, hey, I have this man pursuing me. I can't, risk getting caught. I need you to kill him. In exchange, here's $10 million worth of mutant growth hormone. And at no point when he's showing this briefcase does he notice the bullet hole. At no point does him like opening up this briefcase and revealing all these drugs inside. Did the bullet hit any of these things? So it's just like it's also just very convenient. That's like, oh no, I lost this guy. Oh, no worry, I put tracker bullets in all your guns without noticing. So that one bullet that you happened to hit him with, well, it has a tracker signal. So now we can just follow that signal and you'll be able to find him. Isn't that convenient? So, yeah. Joe Garrison basically rides on his motorcycle until he goes down and he follows the signal. And we have just like another moment where he's at the subway and he's like, well, the signal ends here. Or at least like because we're underground, I can't follow him any further than this, which begs the question, how was he able to follow this signal earlier when the guy went underground with the briefcase to go meet up with Hyde? Like as soon as he went into the subway, the signal would have died. And they weren't tracking the signal before then. Whatever, I don't care. So yeah, he's like, all right, well, AAA, I need you to hack into the surveillance. And somehow her doing that is able to upload some kind of weird biometric data where he can kind of get a POV of everyone that was on the subway earlier. And so he just goes through that and he's able to find the guy that he's looking for going down underground, like further underground into the subway. And I'm just like, okay. Like, I don't know, some of this technology just seems to be very, very plot convenient. It's like, oh, I need this thing so that I can find this guy. Hey, wouldn't you know it? We have that thing that can help you find this guy. Sweet, now I'm going to use this thing to find this guy. Oh no, something else came up and now I can't find this guy. I wish I had something that could help me find him. Hey, you're in luck. Here's this other technology that'll help you find him. Sweet, now I have another way to find this guy. It's kind of just we're pulling things out of our ass so that we can just move the plot along. I'm not really a big fan of that. But yeah, eventually he traces down the guy and he finds Hyde. And I'm going to stop it there. I'm not going to spoil the rest of where this goes. We basically have a fight that's not really Punisher-like. And what I mean by that is, usually when I think the Punisher, I think Frank Castle fighting gangsters and mafiosos and stuff like that. Not fighting souped-up mutants. I know there have been a couple of times when he has, but that's usually not the stuff that I tend to read. Like, usually Punisher is more kind of grounded in reality, and they kind of keep the whole mutant stuff and superpowers away from that. But here, he's straight up fighting Hyde, who you can probably guess what his powers are. Think Jekyll and Hyde. And so, yeah, he's basically fighting a souped up mutant. I'm just like, oh, okay. We're basically getting your typical superhero battle in a Punisher series. That's not really fun. I will say I'm kind of disappointed. I mean, I guess it wasn't necessarily terrible if you ignore that this isn't the Punisher. This is just a guy wearing the Punisher's carcass. And you also ignore all of the convenient tech that just happens to be there to do exactly what he needs to be done in that specific moment. If you ignore all that, and also ignore the fact that the fight scenes are kind of weak because Marvel is not really showing any blood or anything like that. So if you ignore that, and also the fact that he's not really focused on like mafioso and gangsters, like his big fight scene here is with the souped up mutant, which is just your typical superhero battle. So if you ignore that, then, you might maybe have fun. I don't know. I don't like the fact that this is like Punisher. This could just be his own thing. I mean, he already has a cool nickname. He was called the Gravedigger of S.H.I.E.L.D. Why not just have a new series called The Gravedigger? Like, that would have been cool. I mean, if you think about it, the idea of having a soldier for S.H.I.E.L.D. who, quits his job to spend time with his family. Now his family is murdered. So now he goes and he uses the experience that he learned while in S.H.I.E.L.D. to find one of their bunkers and uses their tech to get revenge. Like, that sounds like that could be a pretty cool idea for a plot. But you gotta, one, make it R-rated. Because, the Punisher just works when it's violent and gory. And two, drop the whole Punisher name. Just make this his own thing. Make this the Gravedigger. Other than that, I mean, the artwork isn't terrible. It's fine. But I really wish that they would just stop massacring the Punisher franchise. You can really tell that Marvel just hates the Punisher. Which I don't get. I know it's like, oh, well, because we have a bunch of people using the Punisher logo that we don't, like people that we don't want to wear the logo, wearing the logo because they don't fit our political beliefs or, we have a lot of police officers, a lot of people in the military using the Punisher logo, a lot of conservatives using the Punisher logo, and Marvel doesn't like that. So now they have to go out of their way to just harm the Punisher name, hoping that people would stop wearing the logo. I don't know. I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. It's not going to work because, no one's reading modern day Marvel, to be honest with you. And, we have classic Punisher where Punisher's awesome. So we can just always fall back on those and just ignore the modern day stuff. Punisher is just one of those where he just doesn't fit with modern Marvel. He doesn't fit with Disney's Marvel. Because Punisher has to be violent. It has to be, I don't want to necessarily say apolitical, but Punisher goes after everyone. Like, you can't have Punisher going after gangs anymore. Because if you did, then you would have to make them all white with blonde hair and blue eyes, and it just wouldn't work. So, yeah, it's just kind of a shame. There you go. There's Punisher, issue number 1 from Marvel. It's, I don't want to say good. It's fine if you ignore everything that I've pointed out that I hated about it. So if you ignore the non-violent fight scenes, if you ignore the technology that comes up that's just convenient for the moment, like it's just ass pulls. If you ignore that, the Deus Ex Machina technology, I guess I should say, ignore the fact that this isn't Frank Castle. Someone's stealing that identity, in a sense. Then, I don't know, maybe you might find something interesting here. Otherwise, in all honesty, I feel like this is like a missed opportunity. You could have started a brand new IP. You Could have started the Grave Digger, and that would have been a pretty cool run, I think. They could just leave Frank Castle out of it and just have an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. member using S.H.I.E.L.D. technology to go on a quest for revenge against the people who killed his family. That could have been a cool story. But no, that we got this. There you go. Hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Take care. Later. So what'd you guys think of that video? Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe, hit that bell for a notification, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And if you didn't enjoy the video, thank you for watching it this far, and I hope the next video is more to your liking. Feel free to check out the playlist that you guys see, and I hope to see you guys next time. Later.